who will speak in English. Sorry, I can't do it in Arabic. I'll try it the next time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm managing director of P2M Berlin, and P2M Berlin is an engineering company of Berlin Wasser. Berlin Wasser is the largest water and wastewater supply and discharge company in Germany, and P2M Berlin is an engineering company. We are working in Berlin itself, in Europe, Southeastern Europe, and in the Middle East, some contracts in China. Berliner Wasserbetriebe is a company which was founded about 150 years ago, and at the moment we have in Berlin 3.4 million inhabitants, and Berliner Wasserbetriebe, Berlin Wasser, has about 4,300 employees. It's decreasing a bit, and we have a total turnover of 1.5 million euro. I have to mention that after 1945, after the Second World War, we had to rebuild the infrastructure in the western part of Berlin. Nearly everything in water and wastewater was demolished. And after 1989, we had to rebuild the eastern part of Berlin in all over the infrastructure of water and wastewater. Why? Because we had this unification of western part of Berlin and eastern part of Berlin, and it lasted about 5 years with an investment of 2.5 million euro. Within these 5 years, we succeeded in rebuilding the infrastructure of eastern part of Berlin. Today we operate 700 wells, 9 waterworks, about 8,000 kilometers in pipe network, and in sewage disposal we operate 6 sewage treatment plants, small ones with 200,000 population equivalent, and big ones with to 1.3 million population equivalent. We operate 9,400 kilometers in sewage network and 1,200 kilometers in pressure mains and 148 pumping stations, main pumping stations. My presentation will be held to these 9,400 kilometers in sewage network, but that will come a bit later. I'm managing director of P2M Berlin. P2M Berlin is the engineering company of Berlin Wasser, and we do our services in drinking water, in wastewater, in stormwater, in building construction, in infrastructures, and a bit in landscaping. And the normal process of the engineering services are feasibility studies, engineering, project management, and a bit in research and development. Research and development in close cooperation with the Ministry of Research and Development of the federal government. All the green countries you see here, these are the countries in which we are working today. Unfortunately, so Oman isn't green, not yet green. I hope we can. Nobody from Oman here? No client, no potential client. Oh, I hope we can continue here in Oman in some months or some years. Well, sewer network rehabilitation strategy in Berlin, that includes some words about the sewer network rehabilitation strategy itself, the rehabilitation objectives, the risk management, some words on life cycle and cost aspects. Well, we in Berlin, we have a network with an age of, some pipes have 150 years, some pipes are 30 years old, we have a lot of new pipes, of course, and the condition of all these pipes is very, very different. We might bury our heads in the sand concerning the condition of these pipes, and we might rehabilitate it after accidents, but that's not our strategy. Our strategy is looking for a reliable long-term investment strategy, is to mitigate the risks from deteriorating assets, and all these strategy is based on a very, very, very detailed data gathering and geographical information system. Let's have a look to Berlin itself. You see here the size of Berlin. We have a size 30 kilometers from west to east, 40 kilometers from west to east, and 30 kilometers from north to the south. And the sewer rehabilitation for us is a long-term task, describing technical, economical, financial, legal, and urban infrastructural criteria. And our targets are to mitigate risk for a short term and to steady rehabilitation process for a medium term. We started with this process, with this investigation of our network 15 years ago. We started on these yellow bullet points on 8 pilot areas with a length of 170 kilometers of our network. Remember, we have 9,400 kilometer network. We investigated 15 years ago with the first camera inspections. We evaluated these camera inspections. We made a condition evaluation and we selected the first rehabilitation measures, and we started at that time with these rehabilitation measures and to find out what are possible rehabilitation measures. Today, you see here a map, blue-colored and yellow-colored. Today, we have investigated 6,800 kilometers of 9,400 kilometers. We have inspected about 70% of the network. And we will complete the investigation in 2016. That means it is a very, very long process for such a city to investigate all the network. We document all the investigations and evaluation in a detailed geographical information system, and from this we start to develop our strategy. But as I mentioned, we have investigated only 70%. And what is with the 30% we have not investigated? There might be very, very big problems with these 30% of our network. And therefore we developed a strategy to predict the conditions of the entire network, of the left 30% of our network. How do we do that? Also, these 30% of the sewers have not been inspected. We know the characteristics. We know the year in which the pipe was laid. We know the depths. We know the diameter. We know material operational unit in which it is done. We know the groundwater influence. We know the density of building development. So we have a lot of parameters which we can connect to certain defined clusters. All assessed sewer sections are assigned to these clusters with the sewer section attributes. So we have for the existing network, for the 70%, clear clusters and clear conditions. And we try now to transfer these evaluations to the non-inspected sections. In the non-inspected sections, we define clusters too, and we compare it with the clusters with the characteristics in the clusters which we have already investigated. We compare year late, depth, diameter, and so on and so on. And from this, we evaluate the parameters for the not investigated clusters with length of deficiency in kilometers, with the weighted density of deficiencies, and with rehabilitation costs. And we add some, to verify the results, we add some assessment of statistic relevances, for example, cluster sufficiently covered and standard deviation. And so we can make assumptions for all our network. We have results for all our network, and the results can be mentioned as followed. In Berlin, 23% of the network has deficiencies. That's a lot. 23% has deficiencies. Especially the sewers from the 60s and 70s of the 20th century deteriorate significantly faster than older sewers, built, for example, in the 19th century. Unbelievable. Pipes with an age of 100 years are in better conditions than pipes with an age of 30 or 40 years. What is the reason? The eastern part of Berlin. During the time of German Democratic Republic, in eastern part of Berlin, the situation was very, very bad, and the construction of pipes was not done very good. The most deficiencies therefore result from poor execution of the construction work. Poor execution of the construction work. That's the reason why we have that many deficiencies in our network, 23%. So you can see this here, all what is red, yellow, and violet, that are that's the ratio, about 1/4 of our network which is in a bad condition. And our major rehabilitation target is to find a priority rehabilitation of different deficiencies with high risk potentials, for example, with a danger of life and limb. So we can define on this knowledge now where we found hotspots for the priority rehabilitation. You can see that there are some red and yellow colored hotspots, and in these hotspots we have to start with our immediate rehabilitation, but that might be not very, very efficient, and therefore we usually look for a circle of about 5 kilometers, and we look whether it is possible to rebuild more sites, more deficiencies, and we summarize all these deficiencies in a circle of 5 kilometers to one site, because the hotspot might be too small for a site for a constructing company. Now let us have a look to one pipe between two manholes. These are results, example results by camera inspection and evaluation on that. And you can see we have different condition classes. We define different condition classes. There is a condition class CC1 with major cracks, CC1 also with collapsed pipes, We have CC2, condition class 2 with obstacles, CC3 with minor cracks, CC4 with minor corrosion. And there is another class, CC5, where no rehabilitation is needed. You have seen it, the green, 77% of our network. After identification of these rehabilitation classes, we have to decide what to do with it. With rehabilitation class 1, we know that are short-term rehabilitations. We have to do the rehabilitation at once. Condition class 2 to 4 means medium rehabilitation or long-term rehabilitation. Medium rehabilitation within the next 5 years, long-term rehabilitation within 5 to 20 years. CC 1 to 3 in water protection zones means short-term rehabilitation 2, and as I mentioned before, CC 5, there is no need for action. That looks a bit complicated, but I try to explain it. Based on the density and type of deficiencies and external condition, we define the chronological sequence of rehabilitation areas, such as shown here in circle square 1. In the circle square 1 area, the short and medium-term rehabilitation will be done together. Short and medium-term will be done together. In the other areas, the deficiencies of condition class 0 to 2 will be rehabilitated immediately, and the medium term waits till its planned time comes up, will be done later. The idea of a cost-optimized rehabilitation can be seen here. An optimized overlay is achieved when the chosen rehabilitation area covers as many condition classes 0 deficiencies as possible. That's the case in A1. Time targets and determination of rehabilitation areas are key scenario drivers. The evaluation of scenario input and impact leads to a recommended holistic scenario with defined boundary conditions for the sewer rehabilitation master plan. So here we see one very important result of our philosophy in rehabilitation in Berlin. I have left 2 minutes. I need 1.5 minutes. Based on 15 years experiences, we can say, we assume that we can reinvest our repair up to 3 times before replacement of a pipe. We can repair 3 times a pipe before replacement. That is the most economical way. We are not quite sure on that result. Therefore, we have to investigate more on that, and we have to compare it with the results of other utility companies. But that seems to be the overall solution. So, I come to the conclusion. Berlin rehabilitation strategy represents a classification system which distinguishes the protection objectives, which are structural integrity, leak tightness, operational and legal security. The rehabilitation master plan of Berlin is based on certain preconditions, clear definition and objectives and requirements, setting of priorities, the scope of deficiencies to be rehabilitated, and the due time frame are primarily determined by boundary conditions, and these boundary conditions are short-term rehabilitation or deficiencies with risk of liabilities, medium-term rehabilitation of deficiencies to ensure network reliability, budget limitation for capital and operational expenditures, protection of groundwater resources in water protection zones, long-term preservation of net asset value by fully implementing life cycle costing. And second part of the conclusions, success of Berlin rehabilitation strategy will be monitored, very, very important, by predefined economic, legal, quality, performance indicators. Performance control of strategic rehabilitation program means setting performance indicators such as CAPEX, OPEX, annual rehabilitation rate, and assessments of deficiencies, repairing rate, remedying rate, specific cost by technologies per rehabilitation length. It means comparison of performance to strategy, to budget, and with current figures. And this strategy has to be updated if possible, if necessary, and that means we have to update it every 3 to 4 years. Shukran. Thank you for your attention.
One.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sobert. Very good presentation, very ambitious program, but I just want to know, the objectives basically here. You are talking about 23% of the network which need to be tackled, but now the starting point here, you are talking about protection of water zone. Maybe this is the most important thing. You are also having a problem with infiltration, right? In the system, or you don't?
We have, of course, problems with infiltration. That's not very much, but we have it.
I see. So basically the protection zone that you are talking about here. Protection of the water zone that you are worried about.
Yes. I mentioned in the water protection zones, all the smaller deficiencies are class 1, and it leads to an immediate rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Well, was that your question?
Yeah. Just because in our part of the world, as you are aware, we are having different objectives here. You are talking about protection of water zone. We are talking about infiltration, high level of infiltration, like what we have in Bahrain, which we want to reduce to an acceptable level. So the objectives here may be different, but the work is supposed to be the same.
Yes,
and
that's
going
it.
in the same direction.
That's it.
Basically. But you mentioned about also East Germany, where you had the systems were not done properly in the 60s and 70s.
Yes, that was the main problem.
What about the West Germany? The system in the 60s, 70s were built better, or
yes,
or
yes,
worse?
it was better really. In eastern part of Germany, Democratic Republic, they had a very, very low condition of the concrete. We know that there was a lack of cement, and they put less cement into the concrete, and that is one of the reasons that the condition of the pipes is very, very bad between 60s, 70s in eastern part of Berlin, eastern part of Germany.
Yeah. But you were using the same material, basically, cement pipes.
Yes.
Here.
We have.
But that was done properly, and that was.
Yes. We have the cement pipes. Mostly we have cement pipes. We have some clay pipes, but usually we have the concrete pipes.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much.
Shukran.
Thank you, Mr. Sobert, for your presentation. Now we will have Mr. Muhammad Kadem Maula from Jaeger Aeration Solutions. Mr. Maula is the regional manager for MENA in the Jaeger Environment Technology in Hanover. He's a civil engineer with several years of experience in MENA region and in Germany. He will talk about effective aeration solutions in wastewater treatment.
So the presentation is English language, but I speak Arabic now. It's easy to me, and maybe better two language in same presentation. محمد مولى من شركة ييجر أونفيل تكنيك ألمانيا هانوفر. شركة ييجر أونفيل تكنيك إحدى شركات مجموعة ييجر. أصل الشركة متخصصة بصناعة المطاط واللدائن الصناعية، وشركة ييجر أونفيل تكنيك متخصصة في تصميم وتجهيز وتصنيع أنظمة التهوية في محطات المعالجة البيولوجية، بالإضافة إلى ييجر أوتوموبيل تصنيع قطع غيار سيارات، وييجر USA اللي هي فرع الشركة في أمريكا. قبل ما أبدأ بالبرزنتيشن، طبعاً نعرف أن المنطقة العربية شمال أفريقيا الشرق الأوسط يحتوي على أعلى معدلات استعمال للمياه بالنسبة للأشخاص، بالإضافة إلى أقل معدلات ربما الأمطار. لذلك خلال السنوات الأخيرة العشرة صار من الضروري إيجاد حل لمشكلة المياه خصوصاً في هذه المنطقة. من أنسب الحلول في الفترة الحالية هي إعادة استعمال مياه الصرف الصحي. هذه حالياً هي الطريقة الأنسب وممكن تكون من أنجح الطرق في إعادة استعمال مياه الصرف الصحي. قبل ما أبدأ بالبرزنتيشن لازم نعرف شنو يعني محطة الصرف الصحي، من مراحل محطة الصرف الصحي. المحطة يعني تتكون من 3 مراحل، اللي هي المرحلة الميكانيكية عبارة عن تخلص من المواد العالقة والمواد الثقيلة عن طريق الترسيب، وهي طريقة ميكانيكية أو طريقة الفلاتر. المرحلة الثانية هي المعالجة البيولوجية. المعالجة البيولوجية هو قلب المحطة، اللي على أساسها أنه أنا أقدر أحصل على ماء أقدر أرجعه للاستعمال مرة ثانية، بالإضافة إلى المعالجة الكيميائية، وهذه إذا عندنا نسبة خلينا نقول فسفور عالي ممكن أن نعالج هذه المشكلة. مثل ما قلنا قلب المحطة هي المعالجة البيولوجية. المعالجة البيولوجية تتم في أحد الخزانات في المحطة. قبل ما أبدي بالمعالجة البيولوجية هناك حسابات يعني لازم أجريها، ألا وهي أنه شلون تتم هذه المعالجة البيولوجية. تتم المعالجة البيولوجية عبارة عن بكتيريا موجودة بالطبيعة، ولكن هذه البكتيريا يجب أن أسيطر عليها. كيف أسيطر عليها؟ بتوفير نسبة معينة من الأكسجين. البكتيريا كأي كائن حي يحتاج إلى الأكسجين، ولغرض السيطرة على هذه العملية لازم أوفر نسبة كمية من الأكسجين في هذا الحوض بالذات. حسابات كميات الأكسجين تعتمد على أنه أنا عندي مواد عضوية معقدة، سواء سكريات، كربوهيدرات أو دهون. يجب أن أفكك هذه المواد العضوية المعقدة حتى أقدر أرجع المياه للاستعمال مرة ثانية. أحتاج إلى كميات من الأكسجين. بعض الحسابات اللي عندي المواد العضوية اللي موجودة بالحوض عبارة عن مواد عضوية بيولوجية وكيميائية، وهي قلنا عضويات معقدة، إضافة إلى نيتروجين، واللي يكون أمونيا ونيترو أمونيا والأمونيوم والأمونيا، بالإضافة إلى عندي الTSS وهو مجموع المواد العالقة في المياه. هذه بالنسبة محتويات المياه في الحوض قبل المعالجة. حتى أقدر أوفر نسبة من الأكسجين يجب أن أحسب الكمية المطلوبة لهذا الحوض، وهناك بعض الحسابات. مثلا في حالة المعالجة البيولوجية أحتاج من 0.5 إلى 1 كيلوغرام أكسجين. في حالة النيتروجين أحتاج إلى 4 كيلوغرام أكسجين. والبكتيريا نفسها تحتاج إلى كمية من الأكسجين لغرض التنفس اللي هو 0.2 كيلوغرام أكسجين. من هذه معدلات الأكسجين أقدر أحسب الكمية اللازمة لحوض المعالجة من الأكسجين اللي يجب أن أوفرها في هذا الحوض حتى تشتغل البكتيريا بصورة جيدة. هذه الكمية نسميها ال AOR اللي هو الأكتوال أكسجين requirement، اللي هي كمية الأكسجين المطلوبة في الحوض. الكمية الأكسجين هذه كمية نظرية. النظري أكيد مو مثل العملي، راح أحتاج إلى كمية حسابات فاكتور أغير هذه الكمية. طبعاً هذه الكمية الفعلية اللي أحتاجها بالحوض، فأغير هذه. هناك نسبة يجب أن تغيير هذه الكمية بنسبة بسيطة. هناك فاكتور اللي هو الألفا، أقدر أحسب من عند الSOR، وهي الكمية اللي أنا يجب أن أوفرها بالحوض، كمية الأكسجين اللي واجب توفيرها في الحوض لغرض العمل البكتيريا بصورة فعالة جدا. طبعا المعادلة اللي تشوفوها بالأسفل فيها كثير من المؤثرات، ولكن من أهم المؤثرات اللي تأثر على هذه العملية هي درجة الحرارة والارتفاع عن مستوى سطح البحر. راح أقدر أوفر أو أحسب الفاكتور ألفا اللي راح يعطيني الSOR، وهي الكمية المطلوبة من الأكسجين في هذا الحوض. بعض أنواع أنظمة التهوية المستعملة في الأحواض خصوصاً في هذه المنطقة، يعني هي أنظمة قديمة، ولكن راح نشوف بعض هذه الأنواع ونتعرض إلى جدول لكمية الأكسجين اللي توفرها هذه الأنظمة. النوع الأول اللي هو السيرفيس أريشن أو التهوية السطحية. التهوية السطحية عبارة عن محرك يعمل على تحريك المياه سواء بطريقة أفقية أو طريقة عمودية، وعن طريق تحريك المياه راح يتكون عندي شبه رذاذ في الجو. طبعا يستعمل الجو لما تتحرك رذاذات الماء بالجو راح تأخذ الأكسجين وراح تستعمل البكتيريا هذا الأكسجين لغرض التنفس وراح تعمل في الحوض. طبعا بها مميزات هذه الطريقة، أنه تكون الكلفة بسيطة، الصيانة أيضا ليست عالية، ولكن كمية الأكسجين راح نعرفها بعدين إذا نقارنها بالأنواع الأخرى. النوع الثاني أيضا التهوية السطحية، ولكن بالصورة الأفقية. مثل ما نشوف يتحرك المحرك بصورة أفقية ويحتوي على ريش، أغلبية الأحيان تكون مصنوعة من المعدن أو الحديد، يعني حتى تكون استعمالها لفترات طويلة، وبنفس الطريقة راح تكون صيانتها واستعمالها يكون أسهل من بقية الطرق، ولكن بارتفاعات محددة وبنسب أكسجين قليلة أيضا. الطريقة الثالثة اللي هي الكونتاكت أريشن، وهي عبارة عن ضخ المياه الثقيلة في أحواض. الأحواض تحتوي على أحجار، طبعا بين هذه الأحجار راح تنمو عندي البكتيريا اللي أنا أريدها لغرض معالجة مياه الصرف الصحي. هذه البكتيريا راح تشتغل بمعالجة المياه، ولكن من مميزات هذه الطريقة أنه كلفتها أيضا بسيطة، ولكن الانسداد بها بعد فترة جدا قليلة، يعني تتطلب إدامة بشكل دائم. إضافة إلى أنه معدلات النيتروجين ما ممكن أعالجها، وارتفاع الحوض ما يتجاوز 4 متر. الإجكتور اللي هي عبارة الطريقة الثالثة أيضا مستعملة، عبارة عن مضخات هواء سواء تكون غاطسة أو مثبتة في الأعلى كما موضح في الصورة، مع محرك مكسر يحرك لي الماء، وأضخ عن طريقة أيضا الهواء راح يعطيني فقاعات هواء داخل الحوض. طبعا أقدر أوفر كمية أيضا من الأكسجين، وحركة المياه أيضا راح تكون جيدة، ولكن أيضا بارتفاعات جدا محدودة، وكمية الأكسجين راح نشوفها مثل ما موجود بالجدول. الطريقة المستعملة حاليا وهي الديفيوزر أو ناشر الهواء. ناشر الهواء هي عبارة كما نشوف بالصورة، سواء هناك أنواع من الديفيوزر طبعا، نواشر الهواء أنبوبية أو صحنية، تثبت في قعر الحوض، وعن طريق شبكة من الأنابيب أجهز هذه الديفيوزر بالهواء، راح يعطيني فقاعات داخل الماء من داخل الحوض من الأسفل إلى الأعلى. طبعا كل ما تكون حجم الفقاعة صغير راح يعطيني مساحة سطحية أكبر، معناها كمية أكسجين أكبر، معناها بكتيريا فعالة أكثر. هذا الديفيوزر مثل ما نشوف بالجدول، سوينا مقارنة بين الأنواع الأربعة اللي ذكرناها. راح نشوف كمية الأكسجين المجهزة بالنوع الأول اللي هو الأريشن السطحي من 1.8 إلى 2.2. بالنوع الثاني ما حصلت نتائج يعني مضبوطة 100%. بالنوع الثالث 1 حوالي. بالنوع الرابع اللي هو الديفيوزر حصلت من 2.2 إلى 4، يعني ضعف كمية الأكسجين في بقية الحالات. معناها أنا عندي فعالية تتجاوز 100%، معناها أقدر أرجع ماء من نفس الحوض إذا استعملت الديفيوزر بكمية تصل إلى الضعف. الديفيوزر مثل ما قلنا أشكال مختلفة هسه حاليا، في التيوب، الديسك، أيضا الماتيريال اللي يشتغل منها اللي يصنع منها الديفيوزر أنواع مختلفة اللي هي الEPDM المطاط، ويستعمل بالمحطات اللي هي المياه البلدية. بالمحطات الصناعية سواء كانت أنواع مختلفة من الصناعية، نستعمل حاليا السيليكون الأنسب للاستعمال بالمحطات الصناعية. طبعا السيليكون أيضا أنواع مختلفة، لما نتكلم عن المطاط الEPDM أو السيليكون بخلطات مختلفة حسب نوع المياه سواء كانت البلدية أو الصناعية. مثلا معامل الورق نستعمل سيليكون يختلف عن معامل الحليب أو اللي تدخل بالأطعمة. مثل ما نشوف هذه طريقة التثبيت في قعر الحوض، عبارة عن منظومة أنابيب. مثل ما نشوف الأنبوب العلوي المجهز بالهواء عن طريق مضخات، يتفرع إلى شبكة ثانوية ويدخل إلى الديفيوزر أو الناشر. الديفيوزر عبارة مثل ما نشوف بهاي الصورة هو أنبوب من البلاستيك، ويحتوي على غشاء مطاطي من المطاط مثقب بطريقة معينة. طبعا طريقة التثقيب تختلف من ناشر إلى آخر حسب نوع الفقاعة اللي أنا أريدها. الأنواع الأخرى اللي هي الديسك ديفيوزر، مثل ما نشوف بهذه الصور أنواع من الديسك ديفيوزر اللي هي الناشر الصحني خلينا نقول. أيضا مثل ما نشوف بالصورة شبكة أنابيب من الهواء تدفع لي الهواء في الديفيوزر يعطيني فقاعات. بالصورة الثالثة كان عندنا حوض ارتفاع حوالي 14 متر، ارتفاع كلش عالي، فاضطرينا نسوي شبكة ناشر بطبقتين، كل طبقة على 6 متر، وتشتغل لكل 6 متر كأنه حوضين منفصلين. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you, Mr. Moula, for your presentation. The third speaker will be Dr. Dietrich Bartlett, who is the founder and associate of DB Sediments. He's specialized in hydraulic engineering, water resources management, soil mechanics, and environmental management. He has been working for the German utility company RWE and has held various technical and management positions. Dr. Bartlett, please.
Thank you, Mr. Gnaim. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce the topic to you. It's about water. Water as drinking water, water as irrigation water, and water for the hydropower generation. And that is the topic of my presentation. Oops. How do? Oh. Wie geht das? As the colleague has mentioned, I was working for the RWE, which is the utility company, and I would like to introduce to you a process, a method that we have developed within this utility company to solve the problem of sedimentation and siltation of big reservoirs. Looking at a natural river, you see that on the left side, sedimentation and erosion level each other out depending on the velocity of the speed of the water. If you have a high speed of water in the river, then you have a high mass transport, which means that the mass transport in a river is depending on the velocity of the water. Particles are moved on or sedimented. When you want to use water, you store it, which means you build a dam. And this way you influence the flow regime of a river. And you reduce the speed of the river from the maximum in the untouched river to 0 at the dam. And starting from the intake area of the reservoir, you start to sediment gravel and stones and sand. And the bigger particles are settling down at the intake area directly, and the small particles they are able to move towards the dam. Sooner or later, all reservoirs end up being silted, which means they fill up. Especially in the dry climate, you have only small times where you have floods, and then use the water to dam it. So it's a very important issue. Sedimentation has two sides. One is the upstream side, which is left of the dam, and one is the downstream side, which is right of the dam. So far, all solutions to solve problems of sedimentation and siltation only look on the upstream side, and they forget about the downstream side. Looking at the downstream side, upstream side, sorry, we have, through siltation and sedimentation, we have a reduced volume, which also reduces the flood protection. We have the storage capacity that is reduced. We have the oxygen level that is reduced, and we have temperatures temperature levels going up. Looking at a global situation, you can see the map of the world, and you see all the colored areas of the world, or every area that is colored has a problem with siltation and sedimentation. Blue is a less greater problem, and brownish colors are the worst areas. And you can see that all North America, big parts of South America, big parts of Africa, Asia, and the Arabic world are covered with problems with sedimentation and siltation. Looking at the graphs on the right-hand side, you see the solid blue line. That is the global storage volume for water. And you can see that it is increasing, which means it should increase. But what has been neglected is that there is a brown curve coming from underneath, and that is the curve of siltation and sedimentation. You can see that in the solid blue part, that the high of the capacity, of the net capacity of the global storage volume was in the year 1985 about. And that although the volume is increasing, there's a lot of money spent in order to build up capacity for hydro storage. The actual volume has not been increased since 1985. I will give you some numbers. Since 1985, it has been a sum of 2,000 to 3,000 billions of dollars investment, and this investment has not led to one additional cubic meter of storage capacity for water, but instead there had been a decrease of about 10% of the capacity. Now we want to look at the downstream side of a dam and what's missing sediment is causing. We have the problem of, well, I'll give you an example. In Germany we have the river Rhine, which is one of the predominant rivers in Germany, and there you have a stone of gravel in the size of 2 or 3 centimeters or 1 inch. And this gravel stone is transported 400 meters every day. So that is, the water is transporting this stone. If the stone is held back in a dam, then the force of the water is still existing in the downstream area, which means that the water will look for, or the force will look for new points of attraction. There are 2 possibilities. One possibility is to find a new stone that can be transported downstream. The other possibility is that the flood, that the speed of the water is increasing. So you have erosion and you have floods that are influenced by missing sediment. But all over we have to think of the river as an ecosystem, and sediment as an integral part of this ecosystem. So one major point I want to make with this presentation is not to take sediments out of the river, but just keep them in the river, because they are a very, very important part of this ecosystem. If sediments are not transported along the river into the delta area of the rivers, you have the problem of, and I want to give you a certain special attention to the part of the sea. If sediment is not transported into the sea, you have the problem that there is an hydraulic ground break, and salt water is intruded into the coastal groundwater, which means that you're only able to pump salt water from the springs and from the fountains. Furthermore, there's one other aspect what the sediment deficit can cause, and that is coast erosion. I would like to give you an example of Egypt and the River Nile. And close, you can see here is a map of a Google map of Egypt and the River Nile. You can see in green is the former delta area of the Nile, and sediment had been transported in the past all the way through the Nile up north into this delta area, had been settled down. It's a very, very good area of Egypt. But the Aswan Dam has been built, and some further dams up north have been built, so the sediment transport is cut off. This also leads to another effect that I would like to show you. There's a strong current due to the rotation of the Earth that in the past had transported sediments that were settled down in the delta area of the Nile and had been transported with this current from west to east Egypt, up north, up to Lebanon and Syria and so forth. And right now, what colleagues told me that there are strong erosion problems on the east coast of Egypt, as well as going up north, strong erosions on the coast due to missing sediments. So far, there are 3 solutions to somehow solve the problem of siltation and sedimentation. The first solution that is applicated is that the base outlet is opened and all sediment is flushed. This is not a very good solution due to the fact that you lose all the water, you destroy the venter structure, which is the basis of all life in the upstream as well as in the downstream area. The second solution is the manual dredging, which is the worst, because that way you take sediment out of the river, which it should belong to, and it's very costly. And the third applicated solution right now is to dredge over the dam in a short campaign, and this all